Joining us now is Congressman Todd Rokita. He represents Indiana's 4th District. Mr. Rokita sits on the committees of House Administration, Budget, Education, and the Workforce. Let's talk about the Affordable Care Act. Does the president need to fire someone? And a follow-up question, should we get a refund for these websites that are not working?
You know, Rafael, first of all, thanks for having me back. We've worked together for a long time, and starting from my years as Secretary of State, and you do a great service not only with this show but in your reporting overall. I would also answer your question by saying absolutely people need to be fired, but that's not going to solve the problem. The problem we have is that this is a law that is very insidious, okay, because it's built on lies. First of all, the administration, including the president himself, knew that you could not keep your insurance plan if you wanted to, yet he continued, and his administration continued on saying it.
Are you calling him a liar? Is the president a liar?
The president is lying, and okay, according to the Federal Register, we knew he was lying since, and he should know that he was lying since 2010 because his own administration said this. Okay, so this is serious stuff, and he continued this charade on for several years, and now chickens are coming home to roost in a very real sense.
Who should we fire? Kathleen Sebelius? I mean, who do we fire? I mean, right? Because
well, really, this is the people's responsibility because we not only elected this president and the administration, we re-elected him. And so I'm hopeful now, as so many of us have been saying for so many years now, that this law is bad, that we will take matters in our own hands in 2016 and elect credible people.
But in the meantime, Congressman, we have a law that's on the books. So do we fire people? Does someone need to go?
Yeah, Kathleen Sebelius should go, others should go. We should, that website needs to be...
How about a refund? Because we spent, millions of dollars.
Millions, hundreds of millions of dollars on this website. And let me put it in perspective. You know, we talked about our relationship going back. You reported for years on the statewide voter file that we built when I was Secretary of State. Now, we had good reports and we had bad reports, but at the end of the day, that system, which was responsible for over 4 million voters and getting them registered from 92 different legacy systems in the counties. Okay, not an easy feat, but it was done ultimately on time and under budget, and I think it was under $3 or $4 million or something. So this is not hard. This is not hard stuff. So absolutely we should get a refund. However, having experience in the architecture and in building IT systems, I can tell you, you cannot repair this. So you're going to have to start over.
So in the interim,
but Obamacare is not about a website. The president's right in that.
Sure. So how do we then deal? How do you? Because you are the congressman. How do you then deal with the law as it exists now? Because it's here. It's on the books. So can you tinker with things? Can you move things around to improve it while you wait for 2016, as you suggest?
Yeah. Well, as we wait for 2016, no, we take every opportunity we can to continue to delay, defund, whatever D word you want to use, repeal, we'll throw some R words in, to stop this law because it is a deception. It is built on lies. Not only can you not keep your plan if you want to in a lot of cases, in millions of cases, but it's not affordable. It's going to cost everyone more, including our deficit and debt. Over the next 10 years alone, we're projecting $2 trillion in extra debt. So this whole law has to go, and it has to be replaced with something a lot better. It's not okay just to say no.
But Congressman, you deficit numbers show that the deficit is coming down. So we are getting mixed signals on this, right?
No, we're not getting mixed signals. The deficit is your yearly. The deficit is your yearly spend. Okay, so if the deficit's coming down, all that is saying is that the deficit you thought you'd have for this year, the overspending you thought you'd have for this year, is coming down. Our debt can still be going up because we're still in deficit year over year. The debt is the sum of all the deficits of this country that's had year over year.
I just wish personally that Washington would use the math that my wife and I use when we look at our checkbook, which makes sense. Washington math never makes sense. Let's talk about the budget. Will there be another? Will we have a government shutdown? Will we have a debt ceiling crisis again? Are we going to see this drama unfold again in 2014?
You know, I'm afraid you may. We're working very hard, and I would take not exception because I understand what you're saying at the introduction of this. I understand people are frustrated, but you got to also understand we're not, at least this congressman, is not playing political games here. I came to reduce the deficits, to reduce our overall debt. We are the first generation in the history of America, Rafael, that's going to leave the next one worse off by any objective measure. And so there's a real serious fight going on, and it's about this. Will we as a culture, will we as a generation decide to live within our means, or will we take from the next one? From people who don't yet exist, who are being taxed in effect and have no representation because they're not here yet. That's really the question. There's a huge fight going on. So I would argue that bipartisanship to date, to the extent we've had it, and you called for bipartisanship at the beginning of this show, has gotten us this debt. Has gotten us $17 trillion in debt. Because what happens, and I've seen it for 3 years now, is let's say you're a Republican and I'm a Democrat and I want this and you want that. Well, we come together in a bill, and when it comes time to paying for it, we both agree, well, we're not going to pay for it because that would hurt our constituencies maybe, or that would cause us political risk. We're going to let the children of tomorrow pay for it, and then we're going to hold hands, and we're going to say we're bipartisan. That has got us into this mess, and until we have this fight out.
But you have to work together, don't you? I mean, someone has to.
Of course we have to work together.
So, but then how do you get anything done then if you can't say
we first have
you
to
take and I give?
We have to recognize that Washington doesn't have a revenue problem. It has a spending problem. We take what is in effect 20% of the value of our gross domestic product every year just to run the federal government. And of that, 40% is borrowed on the next generation. We have enough revenue to do absolutely everything we want and 2 times more. The problem we have is a spending problem. So as soon as the parties can recognize that, and there's big government Republicans too, and I see it every day as well. But as soon as we recognize that we have to have a smaller government, which Obamacare is the opposite of, then we can really lock hands together and work together. But we're just too far apart, and we need the American people. We need your viewers to decide what kind of government they want.
And we want you to come back to continue this discussion. Is
it over?